Welcome to Discovering Spain, Wildlife, Culture, and Travel Insights. I'm Mike.
And I'm Sarah.
We're your guides for, well, travel secrets and local insights across this amazing country. We cover places like Cádiz, Ronda, Grazalema, the Caminito del Rey, lots more.
But today, our deep dive is zooming in on a really captivating town in Cádiz province, Alcalá de los Gazules.
Ah, yes, Alcalá de los Gazules.
That's right. You can think of it as sort of a key spot in the Lajanda region, right there in the Los Alcornocales Natural Park. It has this, well, this really authentic Southern Spanish vibe.
Didn't Lorca write about it? Federico Garcia Lorca.
He did, yeah. He mentioned its unique charm. And, that's exactly what we want to explore today.
Okay, so paint a picture for us. Where exactly is it?
Right. It's perched on the slopes of the Sierra de El Ashib, about 70 kilometers from Cádiz city.
So you get some pretty amazing views from up there, I bet.
Oh, definitely. Sweeping views over Los Alcornocales. The whole Cádiz countryside just spreads out below you. It's quite something.
And it's surrounded by other well-known places.
Yeah, it's kind of central. You've got Jerez de la Frontera nearby, Jimena de la Frontera, San Jose del Valle, Castelar, Los Barrios, Medina Sidonia, Benalcázar Viejas, even Cortes de la Frontera and Paterna de Rivera aren't too far. It really sits at a crossroads.
Right in the middle of things. And isn't there a river flowing through?
Yes, the Barbate River. It runs north to south through the municipality, shapes the landscape quite a bit.
Okay, so when you actually get into the town, what's the best approach?
Honestly, just wander. Seriously, get lost in those narrow, steep little streets. You'll suddenly pop out into these bright, open squares. It's the best way to soak up the history and just the general feel of the place.
So less about a checklist, more about just experiencing it.
Exactly. And it's not just feeling historic, it's actually recognized for it.
Oh, yeah.
Back in 1984, it was declared a conjunto histórico-artístico.
Which you need.
Basically, a historic artistic complex. It's like a national stamp saying, this place has significant historical buildings worth preserving.
Got it. So there are specific landmarks within that.
Definitely. You've got the fortress up on the hill. You can't miss that. Then there's the Iglesia de San Jorge St. George's Church and the Casa del Cabildo, the town hall. Those are key spots to look out for as you explore.
Okay. Now, aside from the town itself, Alcalá is also famous for being right next to a huge natural park, isn't it?
It absolutely is. Los Alcornocales Natural Park, it's massive, declared back in '89.
How massive are we talking?
Over 160,000 hectares. It stretches all the way from near Tarifa, down by the Strait of Gibraltar, way inland to the Sierras around places like Cortes de la Frontera, El Bosque, Ubrique. It's one of the really big ones in Spain.
Wow. So it covers a huge area, mostly in Cádiz province?
Mostly, yeah, but a little bit dips into Malaga province, too.
And what's the landscape like in the park?
It's incredibly diverse. You've got these amazing cork oak forests, really special ecosystems, but also more open Mediterranean scrubland. Different plants, different animals, plus, traces of human history all through it. It makes for a really interesting mix.
So if someone wants to learn more about the park, where should they start?
The Algib Visitor Center is the place to go. It's on the A2228 road between Alcalá and Benalip.
Okay. And what do they have there?
Loads of info on the park, obviously, exhibits about the plants and animals. It really helps you appreciate what you're seeing.
Is it just informational displays?
No, they've made it pretty engaging. There's a courtyard. Court show means cork, where you can see the cork oaks up close. And even a charcoal bowling area, which is kind of a fun nod to old local industries.
Huh, charcoal bowling. Interesting.
Yeah, it makes it a bit more interactive, connects you to the place.
And right in Alcalá, there are botanic gardens, too. LG Botanic Gardens.
That's right. They focus specifically on the local plants from Los Alcornocales. It's part of a bigger network preserving Andalusian flora. It's a great way to see the unique plants without having to trek deep into the park.
That sounds useful. And wasn't there something found near there, something really old?
Oh, yeah, incredibly old. A necropolis dating back 5,000 years. Copper Age tombs from the 3rd millennium BCE.
5,000 years. Wow.
Yeah, it really shows how long people have been living in this area. Something to think about as you walk around.
Definitely puts things in perspective. Are there any other, maybe more modern points of interest nearby?
Well, there's the Rio Barbat Reservoir. That was built in 1992, holds a lot of water. And as you drive towards Alcalá, you'll see Las Piñas rock formation. It's this big sandstone outcrop, like a natural welcome sign.
Right, I can picture that.
And in the town itself, there's the Parque Municipal Felix Rodriguez de la Fuente.
Named after the naturalist.
Exactly. Renamed in 83.
Yeah.
There's also a statue there commemorating people who died fighting for democracy and freedom. So it mixes nature with more recent history.
Okay, so history is clearly a huge part of Alcalá. Let's go back a bit further. What's the earliest evidence of people there?
We're talking Upper Paleolithic. At a site called Laja de los Hierros, they found engravings, tools, really ancient stuff.
Wow. And the first proper settlement?
That seems to be at Mesa del Esparagal. And that spot is super important because it's where they found the Bronze of Lascuta.
The Bronze of Lascuta sounds significant.
It really is. It's the oldest Roman inscription ever found in Spain. Dates to 189 BCE.
189 BCE. Where is it now?
The original is actually in the Louvre in Paris.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but there's a replica you can see right in Alcalá in the Paseo de la Playa gardens, so you can still get a sense of it.
And what does the inscription actually say?
It's basically a decree from a Roman leader, Lucio Emilio. It grants freedom to the servants of a place called Hasta who were living in the Lascuta Tower. Says they're free, can own their land and homes, but the Roman Senate still had to approve it.
Fascinating. A little window into Roman times. What came after the Romans?
Well, the Visigoths built a tower there too. Then came the Moors, who renamed it Calat at Yazula Castle of the Gazules. It was part of the Kingdom of Granada for a while. A lot of the castle you see today dates from that Moorish period.
And then the Reconquista.
Yep.
King Alfonso X Alfonso the Wise captured it in 1264. That's when it got the name Alcalá de los Gazules.
Did it play a role in later conflicts?
It did, sadly, during the Peninsular War against Napoleon. The local militia actually beat the French in one battle, even though they were outnumbered.
Really? That's impressive.
It was, but the French reprisal was brutal. A general named Manberg ordered a massacre, destroyed the castle, a Roman bridge. A really dark chapter.
Gosh, yeah. A tough history.
It is. But the town endured. Later, in 1876, King Alfonso XII officially gave it the title of city. And then, as we said, the Conjunto Histórico Artístico status in 1984 really cemented its importance.
So fast forward to today, what keeps the town going economically?
Mostly tourism, which makes sense, and agriculture. Pretty standard for the region, I suppose.
Right. And the weather. What should people expect?
It's Mediterranean, but with that Atlantic influence, So summers are warm, winters are pretty mild. Average temp is around 17 Celsius.
Okay.
Rain mostly in winter.
Yeah, October to February is the wettest time. Average is just over 1,000 millimeters a year. And you definitely get the winds, the Levante and Poniente. That's classic Andalusia.
You mentioned the fortress, the church, the town hall. Can you recap the main monuments someone should try to see?
Sure. So besides those three, there's Laja de los Hierros, the prehistoric site. The Roman site at Mesa del Esparagal, you can see bits of the tower, road, bridge. The deposits of La Salada, those Roman water tanks.
Okay.
Then the Casa del Cabildo itself, that's 16th century Renaissance. The main church, San Jorge, started way back in the 13th century. There's the Convento de Santa Clara, 17th century. Convento de Santo Domingo, parts are residential now, but still historic. And the Ermita Santuario de Nitra, Sor de los Santos, that's a 17th century hermitage, still important locally.
That's quite a list. A lot packed into one town. Now let's talk food. What's the local cuisine like?
Oh, it's very connected to the land. Lots of wild stuff. Asparagus, tagarninas, which are like wild thistles. Yeah. And pork is big, plus that great retinto, beef, make sausages, blood pudding. Game meat too, boar, venison, rabbit, partridge.
Sounds hearty. Any specific dishes that stand out?
Definitely try jabalí and salsa wild boar stew. Bersa de coles is a classic cabbage stew. Calostros, which are milk curds, are unusual. And they do a gazpacho caliente, a hot gazpacho.
A hot gazpacho.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Worth trying. And sopa de asparagus trigueros, wild asparagus soup, really local flavors.
Okay, adding hot gazpacho to my list. And finally, what about festivals? How can visitors experience the local culture?
There's a full calendar. Carnival in February. Semana Santa, Holy Week. In April is big with processions. Late April is San Jorge celebrating Alfonso X. May has the Feria del Ganado, the livestock fair.
Okay.
June has San Juan bonfires, the main Argus fair for the patron saint. And September has the Romería de Ntra. Estrada de los Santos, a big pilgrimage. So plenty going on throughout the year.
It really sounds like Alcalá de los Gazules offers a bit of everything: history, nature, culture, food.
It absolutely does. You can dive into the past, explore stunning scenery, and really get a feel for authentic Andalusia.
Well, for everyone listening who's now thinking about a trip, we definitely recommend checking out the Visiting Cadiz website. A lot of the detail we've discussed today comes straight from there.
Yeah, it's a great resource, and it's run by Clive Muir, who also does Ronda Today, the Caminito del Rey site, and Wild Site Holidays. He's lived in the area for ages and really knows his stuff for English-picking tourists.
Right. So if you want more on wildlife, walking, or other towns nearby, Clive's websites are definitely the place to go.
For sure. Invaluable guides for planning a trip.
Well, that wraps up our deep dive into the wonderful town of Alcalá de los Gazules. Thanks for joining us on this journey.
Our pleasure.
We'll catch you next time for another exploration of Spain.